Hi, this is Kent. I want to give you a tip for creating movement within the sound of a single chord by using certain patterns from the scale that goes with that chord. Like, I'm going to start with a C7 as my example. If we have a C7 chord here, I've got pinky, middle finger, thumb. The scale that I could use with that would be C mixolydian, which is the same as the major, except I have a flat 7 there, which fits nicely with the dominant 7th chord. So the idea behind this particular method of making movement in your chords is to take a 3-note chord shapes. For example, I could start with C here, and the first type of example I'm going to give you involves doing regular 3-note root position triads. So I'd have C, D minor, E diminished, F, G minor, A minor, B flat major, going up to C. So you could also invert those chords. All these chords fit inside of the mixolydian scale. So like if I took the G minor, which fits right in the scale, I could invert it, and then I could go down to an inverted F, and finally down to C. So I can get sort of a bluesy kind of a thing if I were going like I could enhance it in my left hand by going so here's a 3-note shape, but I've taken actually notes from the dominant 7 here. So it's not a regular triad shape, it's selected notes from C7. The rest of these are based on triads and their inversions. That's an inversion of G minor, there's an inversion of F, and here's root position C. And I'm kind of sliding off here. Here's a cool one to go with the 7. 3 notes. There's selected tones from C7. Again, that's a little bit different from the idea of taking a standard 3-note chord and inverting it. Like here's F. There's 3 selected notes from C7. Here's an inversion of D minor. Inversion of C. So now if I did these triads going up, those are just the triads. It gives the 7th chord a kind of a more colorful feeling. It's not so I don't know, blunt sounding as if I were just doing like a blues scale over that. That's more blunt, and I don't know what I mean exactly by blunt, but it's just not as that's an idea there. So again, just to recap, I'm just taking sort of standard chord shapes that you might be used to in different contexts, and the key is to find those shapes inside the scale that you're working with. It really builds a sense of knowing that scale if you can find clusters that each note of that cluster is in the particular scale that you're using. So if we were on C major, let's do C major 7 sound. Now I have a B natural here because I'm using C major as my scale now. Sometimes you can do just two notes, from the scale. And every time almost that I do something, I back it up with my left hand. That's kind of called locked hands, basically, when the left hand is mimicking the rhythm that you're doing in the right. So all those chord shapes come for this time, in this case, within C major. I can invert those shapes, like G major fits inside C major. I could do an inversion like that. So one thing that is often done is to do like a pedal point here, meaning that I just have single notes here as kind of a drone. So there's the concept. You essentially figure out what scale that you're going to use for the particular chord, and then find these three-note shapes to move around on top of that chord, and adds a lot of interest and motion instead of just sitting on that same chord. So I'm going from like D minor here, D minor 7th actually, C major 7th there. But if I went that time, I still had two chords, but it sounded like there was a lot more going on chord-wise. So I hope you have a good time playing with that, and thanks for listening.